Jacare, of course, we all know that Jacare wants his shot at the belt and he's not happy. Yoel Romero wants his shot at the belt. Luke Rockhold wants his shot. The list goes on and on and on. I understand why they're so annoyed. Everybody wants a shot at the belt. Everybody wants to be world champion. And I wanted to be world champion for a long time prior to getting my title shot. Now we've got Yoel Romero going on. We've got Jacare here. Jacare's, he's going on a tirade lately. He's whining. He says here, I've been very anxious, but nowadays I don't suffer anymore. I'm calm and settled with my work in the UFC and earning a good salary. I'm winning more than Bisping since he doesn't fight. Incorrect. If he's getting by on pay-per-view points, he's dead because his fight with Dan Henderson was shit. Then he goes, trash talk didn't happen because it didn't have to happen, but sometimes I didn't tell the truth, says Jacare. I didn't say what I had to say. If I were to do something different, I would have spoken the truth. More like, look, this guy is a loser. In the old days, I would say that. I wouldn't change my approach, but I'm just telling you the truth, how it is. I should have done that a long time ago. Bisping is a loser. So here we go. Obviously, not very nice things. Yoel doesn't say very nice things. You know what the thing is? I had to wait a very, very long time for my title shot. And I didn't go out there and I didn't whine. I didn't bitch. I didn't go to Twitter and Instagram and in every single fucking journalist that I spoke to. And woe is me and this is ridiculous and the state of mixed martial arts and the UFC is going to shit. I never said that. You do you. You carry on fighting. The cream rises to the top. And if you're good enough, you'll get your fucking shot. And if you're so good, Jacare, and if you're so good, Yoel Romero, the landscape of MMA is ever changing. And if you're that good, if you're that bad, you're going to continue to win fights and you'll get your shot. So stop whinging, stop complaining, get over it. I'm fighting GSP, hopefully in the summer, early autumn, as we call it, early fall. And that's just that. It's set in motion. The fight is happening. It's going to do big business. Get over it. In the meantime, perhaps you guys can rematch because Jacare lost to Yoel, which I thought it was a close fight anyway. I thought maybe that Jacare won that fight regardless. And then, of course, Yoel Romero tested positive. So I don't see why those two guys don't rematch in the interim. Maybe they can be a co-main event on that card. And then I get to face the winner because, of course, I plan on beating GSP. Of course, GSP brings a lot of things to the table, but I plan on winning that fight, and then it will be on to the next contender. So, it goes back to my point what I was saying. When I wanted a title shot, I didn't whine and complain and whinge and bitch. Okay, and if they've got any complaints, make them to the UFC. Don't make them to me. I'm doing me, you do you. And that's about all I can say, really. Regarding GSP, still no word on an actual date set for the fight. I spoke to Dana via text message a few days ago. Still waiting to hear. I don't think it's going to be in July. July 8th was the date they were targeting. International Fight Week. I don't think it's going to be that date, pardon me. But who knows? Who knows? If I was to be a conspiracy theorist, then I could think that UFC make more money out of GSP being the champion, so maybe they're just, not telling me the date and then throw it on me last minute. And of course, I'm being silly and I'm just saying if I was a conspiracy theorist and paranoid, I could think that, but Dana's always been great to me. But I'm waiting to hear the date. I'm hearing from unofficial sources and sources close to George that it's going to be September, even as late as October. It's a little frustrating. I did say a while ago, I need a date. I do need a date. I need to, I need to plan my life as everybody does. Yeah. Come on, George, sign the goddamn papers. But not talking about me. UFC 210 this week, and of course we've got Weidman versus Gegard Mousasi. I've got to say I respect Weidman for this fight. I respect him for taking this fight. Do I think it's a smart fight? No, I don't. I don't think it's a smart fight at all. I think it's a bad fight because I think Weidman's going to lose. And I think he's going to lose for a variety of reasons. Now, of course, over the years, me and Chris have kind of had a contentious relationship. I've never really had the nicest things to say about him. I like Chris. I think he's a good dude. I think he's a great fighter. I think he's got excellent jiu-jitsu. He's got fantastic wrestling. And he was a good champion. But I always said that he had an easy road to the title, so that kind of caused me and Chris to have some friction. But I've got nothing personal against Chris. He seems like a very decent person, so I wish him all the best. But I just think losing to Luke Rockhold, then losing to Yoel Romero in the fashion that he did, they were both stoppages. Last one was a knockout via flying knee. The fight against Rockhold was pretty much a systematic beatdown. Now, that has got to affect your confidence. I don't care who you are. You go out there, you get served, you get handled very, very convincingly in 2 fights. That has to affect your confidence going into this fight. If you look at the 2 on the feet, I've never really seen Chris to be that fast or that slick on the feet. He's kind of robotic. He kind of plods. He's not sharp, and he has a very limited striking range. That's why I thought Luke Rockhold would beat him. And that's why I think Mousasi's going to beat him. I think Mousasi was came very, very close to being on the Dutch Olympic boxing team. Of course, he's at home, but this will be his 50th pro MMA fight. Very, very good on the ground. Fantastic striker, and has a lot of momentum. Of course, on the flip side, as I said, Chris isn't as sharp on the feet, and he's lost his last 2. And it really is a big thing. The mental aspect of this sport is huge. And if you doubt yourself, which Chris may do, I'm not saying he's going to. Chris might look like a genius here. He might come back, win this fight, and put himself right back in title contention. Now, of course, that's his plan. That's his big play here. He's going to get right back into title contention. But that's a very risky, roll of the dice, because if he loses it, that's 3 in a row.
At a glance, you say, holy good for you, Yoel, stepping up, trying to save the card. But then there's a big, only if,
Stop.
There's an interim.
Date? What is the date?
June 6th. 3rd?
How is that stepping up?
3rd.
April, May, June. That ain't short notice. He doesn't get props for that.
Fine.
Stop it.
It's not stepping up, but it's still like, look, anybally who says it's a real ass dude move just to come in and say you'll fight anybody.
Listen, stylistically, it's a great fight for Yoel.
Yeah, it is.
Anderson's always had problems with wrestlers. If they stayed on the feet, there's a high percentage that Anderson beats him, but it ain't going to stay on the feet. He was consistently out-wrestled throughout his career. I don't understand why of the week wants an interim title fight. And if the UFC do it, I'm going to be very, very shocked, because there's supposed to be a middleweight title fight happening in the summer. How can you have an interim title fight and the actual title fight in the same time frame, in the same season? There's no injury. The champion is active, and there is a fight scheduled. So, hence, of the week.
I don't understand. Why would Yoel want that? Here's the thing that I don't really get, okay? And you'll be able to shed some light on this, hopefully. Is it just about having any belt? Is it just anything? Or do you want to really be considered the best? Because in order to be the champion of the division, he would have to beat you, whoever truly holds the title. So why would you want a paper championship? I don't understand the appeal there for Yoel Romero. People are just going to say he's not the real champion.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess it's... I don't know. I mean, I guess there's a little bit of prestige there. He could say I was the interim belt holder. I don't know. It's like... Does
it count for pay-per-view points if he headlines a pay-per-view with an interim belt? Is there some more money involved? I don't really get why there's even I
don't know. Maybe there is pay-per-view points there as well. I mean, I was with Max Holloway last week, and I wanted to ask him, Max, do you feel like the real champion? Because obviously he's an interim belt holder. But I didn't ask him because I didn't want to be insulted, because that's not how I meant it. I was kind of curious as to how he feels about that, and we did talk about it, and I think he did actually say fuck no. He wants to fight Jose Aldo, but I can't understand why Yoel would want that. Going back to Kelvin Gastelum, it's a real shame for the kid. I like Kelvin. I like the way he handles himself. Like the way he fights. His last 2 performances have been fantastic. To get flagged for something like marijuana, it's a shame for the kid, because of course it's not performance enhancing. If it was performance enhancing, I wouldn't be sympathetic in the slightest. Of course, marijuana is a recreational drug that is widely used by many, many people, and is legalized here and there. I'm assuming that he smoked it at a calculated time and he got his calculations wrong. I don't assume that the day before he was, getting high or whatever. He just made a mistake, or it stayed in his body longer than what he thought. And it really is, it's a shame for the guy because he's got a lot of momentum. That's going to slow him down. I don't know what the punishment is for marijuana as of right now.
I think your brain activity slowing down, loss of sperm count, lack of motivation. You meant from the UFC. You didn't mean in life.
Yeah. From the UFC.
It's just another shitty joke, Mike. I'm trying here. I am trying.
It went way over the top of my head.
Yeah, I know. It happens sometimes.
So he's going to be out for 6 months to a year.
I don't think that weed should be illegal. We've argued about this before. I don't think it should be illegal in life or in the UFC.
I agree. I don't think you should be criminalized for that activity. And I'm saying that activity because my children are around. Because I'm pro-choice. You do whatever you want. If it doesn't hurt me, then good for you.
It's just kind of funny that you use the term pro-choice, which is we use toward something very specific, and then you just use it toward I smoke weed. I'm pro-choice. Why not?
Yeah, well, do whatever you want. It doesn't hurt me. Then good for you. If that's what you want to do, great. But we're going off on a tangent here.
It's all right.
Why is it that everybody that smokes weed feels the need to shove it down your throat? For example, Eddie Bravo bangs on about it constantly. So does Joe Rogan. This morning on Instagram, Nick Diaz, he's in a car in Las Vegas. He's got this gigantic bag of weed that he's filming on Instagram. Why does he feel the need to do that? Why, if you smoke weed, do you have to talk about it and show everybody? Why are you going to be so proud of it? Why don't you just do it in private?
I'll tell you why, okay? There's two reasons.
Tell me why.
It's immature. It really is, okay?
It is immature. It's not like every time I have a beer, I take a picture of it and go, ooh, look at me.
What?
I'm having a beer.
A lot of people do, though. That's the thing. It's an immature thing as well. With alcohol, people do that. People will be like, dude, I knocked down 14 beers at the party last night. And it's like, yeah, it's kind of a cheesy thing. But I also think because there is it's criminalized. People are going to jail for smoking weed. They're not harming anybody. They're inhaling a plant. It's only, if it's damaging anybody, it's themselves. I think that there's a ton of buzz around it because it is something that, most people kind of agree that it should be at least decriminalized. And I think that just kind of, it creates kind of like this chamber of people constantly having the conversation. And as more people make it recreationally legal, it creates more and more of a buzz. And I think that's one of the reasons why it was made legal in a lot of places, because people are very passionate about it. And truthfully, I'm passionate about people not being put into cages for inhaling a plant. That's silly.